told, no, you're an anti-Semite. Well, on two levels, we can discredit this theory. Number one, we have the Nazis, who were, without a doubt, anti-Jewish. That's something that we can pretty much agree on. They signed the Havara Agreement. That was in the interest of Zionism. This is the convergence of interest of Zionism and truly anti-Jewish feeling. Let's take it to another direction. The term Semite. What is a Semite? What are the credentials of a Semitic person? Arabs are Semites. Hebrew is a Semitic language, but so is Arabic. So therefore, you can very easily argue there are more Semites in the world who are anti-Zionists than Semites in the world who are pro-Zionists. If there is an ideology which has displaced, we have over 6 million Palestinian refugees in the world today. The biggest population of refugees from anywhere in the world are Palestinian. Are they not Semites? Are we to just take that word and say, okay, well, we only apply it to people from Hungary? From people from Canada, from the United States, that have a certain religion. We don't apply it to the indigenous people of that land who are themselves Semites? This is the question. So we have Zionism absolutely clearly is anti-Semitic in its nature. It's a colonial movement, a supremacist movement, which is based upon displacing and ethnically cleansing Semitic people. How is this not anti-Semitic? Why am I the anti-Semite if I turn around and say I disagree with colonialism? No, we must not accept these tags, and we must not let people get us bogged down in these words. Because what does it mean? What does it really mean? So, of course, in 1948, the State of Israel was founded. Over 750,000 Palestinian people were driven from their homes. Miss Golda Meir, widely seen as the mother of the State of Israel, said there's no such thing as Palestinians. And today the BBC say there's no such thing as Palestinians. Why? Why do the BBC say there's no such thing as Palestinians? Well, if we look at the Director General of the BBC, is a man called Mark Thompson. He is the highest paid employee in the public sector in this country. This is a man who makes near £1 million per year, between 900,000 and £1 million per year. Who is Mark Thompson, and what are his interests? When that phrase Free Palestine was banned from BBC One Extra, I was told by the DJ whose show it was on that the decision went all the way up to Mark Thompson. Who's Mark Thompson? And why is he making these decisions? What did Mark Thompson do when the Israelis were bombing Gaza in 2008 and 2009 and the DEC wanted to make an appeal? Mark Thompson said, no, we won't air that appeal. We won't air that appeal. It will break our impartiality. As if the BBC is impartial. This is ridiculous. The BBC is sending Tim Westwood, the hip-hop DJ, over to do hip-hop shows in Afghanistan on a British military base. How is the BBC impartial? Please explain that to me. Mark Thompson, in 2006, went and met with Ariel Sharon. Ariel Sharon, the butcher of Sabra and Shatila, as has been acknowledged by his own government, by the Israeli government, have said Ariel Sharon had responsibility in that massacre. And Mr. Mark Thompson went and sat with him. What do you think they spoke about? What was spoken about? What is Ariel Sharon's job? Ariel Sharon's job is to serve the interests of Israel. And what are the interests of Israel? What are the interests of Israel? Expansion, expansion, expansion. That's the interest of Israel. In the Knesset, the parliament in Israel, above it they have the words from the Nile to the Euphrates. From the Nile to the Euphrates. Expansion, expansion, expansion. Israel is the only state in the Middle East which has invaded and occupied every single one of its neighbors, from Egypt to Lebanon, to Syria, to Jordan. expansion, expansion, expansion. There are over 500,000 illegal Israeli settlers on what is now what is seen as Palestinian land. And how did they get there? They didn't come bearing gifts. They didn't come and knock at someone's door and say, please, can I have your house? Can I live next to you, please? They came with guns and they said, get out. That's what they did. That's what they did. No matter how the BBC tries to paint it and make it look as natural and as normal and as moral as anything, it's nothing more than colonialism, invasion, imperialism, and ethnic cleansing, and we must be 100% clear on that. So that's the question. People talk about being anti-Semitic if you are anti-Zionist. It's absolute rubbish. And this question of, if I oppose something, do I oppose the person because of the qualities that person has? There's been speaking about the apartheid in South Africa. Let us not forget that it was the Israeli government that tried to arm the apartheid government in South Africa with nuclear weapons. It was the Israelis that tried to arm them with nuclear weapons. Did people say to those who were rising up against apartheid in South Africa, they said to them, you're rising up against apartheid because you have a problem with white people. You really don't like European people. What's wrong with you? You don't like European people. No. No one ever said that. No one ever said that. They were doing it because they wanted to live in dignity, because they wanted their humanity to be recognized. Did people say to the French resistance, oh, you're just resisting because you have a problem with Germans. That's your problem. No, they resisted because they were defending themselves. That's why they resisted. The people say to the people that opposed the invasion, the bombing, and the occupation of Iraq, oh, you're opposing this because you have a problem with American people? What about the people of Diego Garcia? An island just off Mauritius, over 2,000 people were depopulated from their island by the British. And the island was given to the United States. It's still officially a British colony. It was given to the United States for a military base. Those people who still today, to this day, want to go home, who live in this country and want to go home to Diego Garcia, do they feel that they want to go home because they have a problem with American people? No. Do we say to the indigenous people of the land we now call Australia, who resisted Captain Cook and his conquerors, you are resisting because you hate British people? No, they resisted because they had the right to resist and because they believed in their own humanity. They never forgot about their own humanity. So we must not let the narrative and the definitions be warped in front of us and be changed in front of us. It doesn't make us good people or special people, or it's not about race, it's not about religion, it's about humanity. It's about us seeing the situation and saying, this is wrong. We don't believe this is right. And especially when looking upon the role of our own government in this situation. We have the right to hold our government accountable. No one should tell you that, oh, well, you know, that's ancient history. No! Our government is accountable for what happened in Palestine. Don't let them tell you they're not. And you think it's just Palestine? You think people all over what they call the Middle East, North Africa, don't remember the British? No, of course, when David Cameron travelled to Egypt after the revolution as quickly as possible, who was he accompanied by? He was accompanied by his henchman from BAE Systems. This is the same David Cameron that in November sold sniper rifles to Gaddafi. What are sniper rifles for? They're not for defense, they're for targeting people. This is the same interests at work. That's why he went to Egypt with BAE Systems, because they want to sell weapons to whatever new comes out of that situation. Because he who owns the army owns the country. And you know, all this talk about democracy and dictatorships. The biggest democracy in the Middle East has a name. Its name is Israel. Did the Palestinian people democratically vote for the state of Israel to be founded